Hello, I'm working on my patch panel here. There's my piece that I'm going to weld in, and I've got rust here, rust here, rust here, so I'm going to cut this off to enable me to position the new piece with some level of accuracy. I want a reference dimension. So I'm going to, I've already done it, but I'll show you what I did. I'm going to measure from that corner of that radiator support to that hole there. So I've got my tape measure, I'll hook that on there. Now bear in mind I'll be using two hands. Okay. I'll put my elbow on the end of the tape. It's 17 and 9/16. That's with it hooked on there. So I'm going to cut this off, position the new one at 17 and 9/16, and then offer this into place, cut away anything that touches and start welding it in. I can see that this has been welded here, but I'll start by cutting this off. Let's do this. Okay, back in a bit then. I'll bring you back when there's more to show. I cut the end off there, and I've laid the piece over, and this part here has just slipped between this piece and that piece, so that's got me down there, and I've just kept snipping and trimming away on this part, this joint here, to bring this in. And as it stands at the moment, this is now it's hard to see the scribe line, but I think that's where it is, and you can see that it's lying against the scribe line, so that is in position. I don't know if I showed it very clearly there, but I can see it, and I think that's okay. So this is about a ½ inch out, possibly a bit less. Where's my tape? Oh, actually it's rather close. That's almost in the right place. So we'll get it lying there but over the top, and then we'll make a cut so that they'll butt together. That bit there is okay. I've trimmed and trimmed just here. This is kind of okay. I suspected that this bit was a little bit pushed back, and I think it is, but I've got my dimension from there to there. That's lining up with that edge down there within a, you know, fraction. I suppose what I want to do is drill some holes here, probably about 4, maybe 5, so I can weld down there. I might trim this a little bit tighter and then go right the way through, and then hold them together and weld them. Yeah, but that piece, although it's not perfect, is a lot better than the one that I had there before. It's kind of matching on that circle there. I'll have to maybe lay something across here. You know, if I lay something across those two things there and measure down, and lay it there and measure down, I might be able to judge, you know, whether this needs to be down there or up there or what. 5 plug welds down there. What I also did just before I started doing that welding is I welded that thing in there because it was turning, that little earth point there. Now the difficult thing is this long weld here. What I've just realised is I haven't cleaned off this metal. Okay, yeah, it's beginning to look a bit better. These panels have had some repair in the past, but they appear to have been well done. The alignment isn't too bad considering I cut to a scribe line. Let's just get some welding where it touches and see how I get on. I suppose I should put a tack at this end. Yeah, this needs to come forward a little bit, which will actually tighten the gap. Okay, leave me with it then and I'll try and get some tacks in place. I laid this piece of tubing across there and I measured down to that side and I just set it through. I didn't even measure it, and I've just offered this to the same place on this side, you know, and it's pretty well there. It's there within a 1/16, so I'm going to say that's okay. There is some evidence of previous welding on here, so this has been repaired, but you know, it's the best I've got. So I'm going to clamp that together, get it lined up and weld it. I sort of bumped and banged and manoeuvred this little bit around. I can see this is a little bit out of shape, but what can you do? You know, it's like, it's obviously had a minor bump. I've welded along there, and I've welded down there, and I've welded there, and it's not looking too bad. A bit of grinding and then a little bit of hammering and dollying or to sort of get it looking nice. But this piece here is nicely attached, so I can now bridge from here to here, and that'll finish that off nicely, which will extend this down. This can be ground away here, and then I can just blend this area. Okay, right, we're not looking bad, we're not looking bad, it's looking okay. Quite a lot of work there getting that. Oh, damn. Precision instrument. Put that away in the drawer. Okay, I've got to finish this here, but there's a little bit of a gap. So I just wanted to double check that everything's in the right place. I can just give this a little bump, get that aligned with that. You know, push that back a little bit, and I'll probably use a little bit of filler rod along there. It's looking okay, looking okay. Yeah. So really, no, I couldn't have cut much less away, could I? I could have probably come along here, but you know, this metal is heavily compromised. Where I've cut that there, I did have reasonable metal both sides, so there you go, there's the old, there's the old, that's the new. You can see that mounting point there just was completely missing from that, and that piece was all just codged up, horrible. This is, you know, it's nice now. Yeah, I'm reading very low on gas. But I will try and get this little bit welded in here before it runs out. I've got one more bottle and then I'll have to go and get my bottles filled. I've got 3 bottles and I've used 2. Using a lot of gas. Okay, right, I'll just finish this little bit of welding then, and then I'll kind of call it good, because this was quite a big job, and the big part of it was trying to get everything aligned, which I'm pretty sure I have, to within the accuracy required by this type of vehicle. Okay, righto, I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Okay, just welded there, just welded there, I welded that little bit there, welded there, the rest of it was already welded. So this now is really, you know, really firmly attached. It's really firm in there. But that is the end of that part of that job. It's not looking too bad, to be honest. It looks pretty good. It's very sound, very solid, which is more than can be said for how it was before. I just showed you that piece that was on there. I'll bring you back when I've just done that little bit of grinding and hammering and dollying, and we'll have one last look at it before we call it a day. Hello. I've just went a bit mad with a grinder and then a sanding disc, well, a wire wheel and a sanding disc, and I've cleaned it up as much as I care to, and I'm gonna put a bit of paint on it. There's possibly some minor repair required there, maybe cut a little piece out and make a piece to go in there, but yeah, it's not looking too bad. I haven't hammered and dollied it at all actually, just left it. I followed Kyle Carter's advice and try to only use a grinder on the welds, and make sure you're only grinding the weld. That's why I don't go too mad at them. There's always a little bit left, and then just a quick lick over is not his advice, but what I've been doing with the sanding disc, and it's looking okay. So I'll put a bit of paint on it, and then I can sort of, you know, start thinking about something else. Okay, righto. That's not looking too bad, is it? I'll show you what it looks like with the paint before we call it good. Okay, back in a little bit. Hello. I've just sat editing the video up to this point, and it's only about an hour after I finish, but I thought I'd just show you it with a little bit of paint on. This is my forget it paint. Once it's painted I can forget about it. So there we are, there's the finished job. A couple of little creases there. I don't know if they're in the original pressing or what, but I suspect there's a little bit of a crunch here, but it looks pretty good. You know, you have to sort of catch the light. You can see the weld's a little bit more obvious there. I didn't grind it too much there, but yeah, I think that's looking okay. Yeah, it's not looking too bad. You know, it's pretty solid, to be honest. Okay, anyway, so there's my inner wing repair. Still more to do, but you know, broke the back of it, so to speak. Okay, so what to do next? It's either going to be something to do with that area there, but certainly this bit here is one of the worst areas now. Well, this actually is the worst area because this is structural. So, following the logic of doing the structural stuff first, this is next. This looks pretty good. This looks pretty good. So, I need to repair this. Okay, righto. I will bring you back when there's more to show. I'll tell you something though, I mean, it's not like, you know, as if I haven't got something to have a go at. I'm certainly not sitting around twiddling my thumbs. Okay, take care then, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers then, bye. Hello. I'm continuing to work on this piece. I cut away that piece that was on the top down to this piece here, which is the original top, which is nice and flat. No part numbers on this side. So there's a serial number stamped around the strut top. I think it's on that side. What you can see here, this is the pocket that holds the top bearing. Which is corroded there, but with 3 bolt holes, 3 big bolt holes like that, That's not hypercritical. But what is a little bit more important is this heavy piece of metal here, which should come around here like this and down to there. That should come around there like that, adding strength to this, and it's missing. Maybe I can point the camera up the other side. Hang on a minute, let's see if we can see what it looks like on the other side, 'cause I think it's intact on the other side. Hang on. Can you see that piece of larger gauge metal going round? And the strut top? There's the strut top. Then that piece of heavier gauge metal. Okay. So I'm indulging in a bit of freestyle design here. I've got this piece of metal which I've just made that cut there. So that fits like that. And what I'm going to do is get underneath and scribe up around this radius and that there. And then trim it and get it to fit that, and then shape this piece to come down against there, and then I'll look to see what I need to do to get the top to close off. Yeah, it might have to be a separate piece of metal. It's quite thick. It's a piece of box section tubing, you know, so it's got that radius on it. Back in a sec. Here's my piece. That piece there will be bent forwards eventually to kind of meet there. But that's kind of fitting in there. A little bit of trimming required, not much. And you can see where I've kind of put a mark at the top where it wants to start bending down, and you can see where I put a line across this edge where it needs to be kind of trimmed off. So let's give it another bit of a cut. Righto, back in a bit. Unfortunately it's getting a bit late, so I'm not going to be able to do much grinding for much longer, so I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Hello, here's my piece. You can see it's a little bit crude, but you know, hey. Hopefully that should kind of fit like that. That should kind of go in there like that. You know, it's within the realms. And if you look up there, I've kind of ground a bit there. So I ought to be able to reach up there and put a good weld onto that strengthening piece that's in the corner. As long as I get one good blob of weld in there, I'll be happy. And I'm thinking on the end of that corner piece there. So that ought to be able to be welded in. It'll be better than leaving it with nothing, won't it? I think I might give it a go. A bit of heavy welding for a change. Yeah, okay. Let's just go for it. Let's just try and knock a job out in double quick time. Let's go bonkers and get that in there. Okay, righto. I'll bring you back when I've either had a fantastic success or completely ballsed it up. Hello, check that out. I think that came out really well. Bear in mind that's just welded, no grinding. So it comes forward, dips down, bends in, and then I've managed to attach it as well on the inside, which I was a little bit surprised about. Hang on. Up here. Got a couple of decent beads going there. One onto the corner of that strengthening piece and one onto the original parent metal at the top, and they came out really well considering the angle I was welding at. I've left this little edge there you know, which is just gives a bit of a return edge. But I'm really pleased with that. I think that's come out ever so well. I need to grind. I don't need to grind that, and I don't need to grind that, but I will grind it a little bit just to, you know, take the top off. But I need to grind this one because the sheet metal piece has to go to that edge there where my thumbnail is. I've encroached on it there because I couldn't separate the two pieces, but it's looking good. It's one of them jobs where, you know, I just came out, had an idea, and went for it. And there's only one time to do that job, and that is when you've got all this out the way. You couldn't do that any other time. Well, I can't grind now. It's too late in the evening now. I'm aware that I'm doing a lot of grinding and, you know, a lot of cutting and grinding, making a lot of noise. So I don't want to upset the neighbours. So I've got a sort of 8 o'clock curfew, and it's nearly 8 o'clock now. So I don't want to make a sudden lot of noise. Still warm. Okay, right. And here you can see like original heavy spot welds where this panel is welded together. But this top sheet isn't actually very thick, so I can have a go at forming something up. It probably won't be the authentic shape, but it doesn't really matter. None of this is visible. So yeah, we're looking good. That repair there looks pretty sound. This repair here looks good. And you know, hey, we're getting somewhere. I'll see you tomorrow and I'll finish this off. Hello, shiny metal. I've just spent a little while grinding this. Then I used like a flap wheel disc. It looks okay. It's okay to sort of go hammering away at this stuff when, you know, it's thick metal like that. I tried to reduce these welds as much as I can. There's a little, I think it's just a pit there. Yeah, looking good, looking good. So I'll put a bit of paint on that, I think. Let it dry, and then I'll think about trying to do this bit. Okay, sheet metal next. I might get up there with the, I might try and get up there with a wire wheel and kind of clean it out. Asbestos, I can. Let's get this little corner finished out. It's early in the morning here actually. I've come out just to do this. So we'll walk the dog in a little bit, and then I'll come out later this afternoon and have a bit of a session. I'm going to have to pull back a little bit on the 100E work because I've got Pendine coming up, and it may have happened by the time you see this. I want to make sure the sedan is okay, make sure everything's running good. You know, go through the distributor, make sure that's okay. Just double check everything. Think about what I want to take. Think about what I might want to take off, for instance. Things like that. Okay, righto. Jolly good then. Good little session this morning. You know, it's only 10 minutes. But I just wanted to do that to put a closure to this little piece here. There's a more complete picture showing the area where the work has taken place, including that area down there, you know, the battery tray. It's quite nice doing the front end repairs because none of it is visible on the, you know, on the driving car, so you can just kind of cut and hack to your heart's content, and as long as it looks okay, it all gets covered up afterwards. Righto, I thought I'd just give you a more complete view there. Okay, I'll catch you later then. Cheers then. Thank you for watching. Right, so I've cleaned up all underneath there with the angle grinder, just with a wire brush. Not going mad, just to, you know, do the best I can with the wire brush. And I'm just going to give it a coat of the Bonder primer. I'm very pleased with this repair. I'll paint the whole thing. I'll leave a little bit here, and I'll have to grind through the paint there when I want to weld it. But that's looking pretty good, I'd say. Okay, there we are. Front corner. I put a bit of paint on there because I could see bare metal coming through. That's all painted. All up there is painted. All inside there. And that piece there. So it's all painted up there. I'm only just giving it a quick splash of Bonder primer. I think it's a good quality, you know, hold off the rust primer. Sticks well. Quite durable. Okay, right. Yeah, looking good. I just also, because I missed it before, I just splashed a bit of paint up there on the inside of that patch. Hopefully we should be able to say the front end is done relatively soon, but there's plenty to do. Some quite big jobs, you know, working my way around the car. Okay, I don't mind though. I'm enjoying doing the jobs. It isn't like I'm desperate to finish them. I just want to do a nice job, enjoy doing it, and you know, hope you guys enjoy it too. Okay, take care then everybody, and I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Cheers then, bye. Hello, I'm getting my piece mocked up. It's going underneath this piece, over this piece, and I can see that, I don't know, I'm going to have to do some hammering and bending here, maybe a slit or two, and that should sort of close into there. But I've just kind of laid it on, and I need to trim this edge back a little bit. I've got it down here and I've got it down here, and I'm trying to just take account of various bends and things that it needs, because it needs to bend down at the edge. So I think I'll bend it down, leave it long, and then trim it off after, down to that sort of dimension there. I was thinking that I would kind of maybe weld it into here and then cut the, yeah, I might do that actually, because that piece underneath needs a trim. Or maybe I should just do it as the original panel would have been and then repair this. Sometimes when you're trying to deal with a complex panel, it's best to make it as simple as possible. Yeah, I think I might trim it off and treat that as a separate job. I'm making things too complicated for myself. I'll take it off and have a look to see how the original panel was terminated. Okay, anyway, there's my piece. I will bring you back when there's more to show. I've kept preparing my little section there. This one needs to be trimmed off afterwards. It's kind of clamped in place at the bottom here, and I'm hoping that once it's kind of all pulled into place, it will fit okay around here. So I think I'll weld it up as far as I can, both sides, you know, and then start, just keep going and going and going and going till it's in. I had to trim off this piece here. I was trying to get rid of the last remnants of the old piece from there, and it just all buckled away and crumbled away, so it was no good. So I need to let a new piece of metal in there, weld them together, cut and file, you know, the holes in the right shape. made a little mistake there, but there was a little bit of rust in that corner, so I'll have to let a little piece in. But yeah, I think it's looking okay. Okay, leave it with me and I'll carry on and do my very best. Okay, here's my piece of metal welded in place. It isn't finished. I've been forced to have a little break because I've just run out of wire. Luckily I have got some, but it's probably a good idea to just leave it a minute and let it all cool down anyway. So yeah, it's not looking bad. I didn't do these curves very well here, but maybe I can dolly them after the event. I've got it in by and large all around here, some there, and then just tacked all the way down both sides there. So I just need to convert those into a complete weld, and I was going to say that's it, but you know, a tiny little bit in there, and a filler piece in there, and yeah, that'll be pretty good. I'll bring you back when I've changed my wire, had a cup of tea, and I'm able to do a little bit more. I put some new wire in, and I had a little bit of problem with the torch. Where is it? Down there. And I put a new tip in, so I need to grind this now. And I tried to run a bead along the edge of the old metal, but I think I kind of missed. I went a bit off track there. Well, the idea is I'll kind of try and blend this all together. That's a bit proud, isn't it, that bit? Right, let's get this ground then. Let's get the big lumps off it. Everything seems pretty strong. And then I need to work out exactly what I'm going to do at this point here and weld a new piece in here. But you know, I'll probably treat that as a separate job, because there's always something else to do, isn't there? When you know, when it's a, I'm not going to say a never-ending project, but when it's a project that will take a long time, there's always something to do. So you need to stop now and then and just take stock. I mean, you know, I could do with having it tidy up, to be honest, couldn't I? But you need to stop and gather your thoughts. I'm quite happy with that. It's nice and strong. Oh, I need to kind of, oh no, that's another piece, isn't it? I need to put a little weld in that corner down there, maybe. Let's get a bit of grinding done before it gets too late. Okay, back in a bit. Hello, I'm back again. I had a little break. I put the new wire in the welder and a new tip, and actually I noticed an improvement in the quality of the welding. So I don't know if the old wire was getting a little bit kind of tarnished or something, but I've done a couple of beads in this area here, you know, just trying to fill the gaps, and I've ground it a little bit, and I've ground these without going too mad, because these can't be seen here. This is completely hidden. So this area that can be seen, I've kind of got done with the sanding disc a little bit. If you put filler on there, it'd look okay. I'm not going to do that, but it would look okay. I was just trying to work out what I want to do, whether I want to just paint this and walk away, or do I want to weld that, put a piece in here, and maybe I'll put a piece in there, but I will worry about the hole and the slot, you know, once it's in place, because it's actually quite firm there. As I'm saying it, I'm imagining doing like a spot weld there. So I need a piece that goes underneath here and just comes to there. So I might as well do that. A little offcut will slip in there, and I can do that as well. Let me cut a piece of metal then, and I'll get it let in here. Hello. As always, the sort of finishing off jobs take longer than the main job. I welded a little piece in. I used this tool, which is a shoddily, to just put a little dip on the end of it, and I punched it that way as well. I welded it along there, and I put spot welds there and there. I just got that hooked onto there, put a little piece of metal in there where I'd kind of missed a bit. I can't really grind in here, you know, so, and it's not visible, so I'm just leaving it as it is. I've just got a little bit of a grind on there. I tapped this down, bent this down and bent this back and just tacked them together there. And I think I'm just going to leave these seams long. There's no reason to trim them off. I might trim them off, I don't know. More likely to knacker it up than get it right. But it is, you know, pretty damn strong really. And as you can see, I've scribed a rectangle and a circle, which I've just took from that there. So I need to drill a hole there and drill maybe a couple of holes there and then file them into a rectangle. So yeah, so I'll bring you back when I've done that, and when I've done that I'll probably just give the whole thing a coat of paint. Okay, I've just put some paint on that one and I'm very pleased with it. I think it's came out really well. I know there's 1,001 other things to do and there's 1,000 things that are worse than that, but I'm quite pleased with that. That was, you know, I'll flash in a little bit here from how it was, and I think you'll agree that looks a hell of a lot better. Okay, righto, I'm going to call it good at that. If I had any sense about me, I would try and do a bit of tidying up. So who knows, I might do a bit of tidying up. Not now, because I feel like I've done enough today. Okay, I'll just give you a little look underneath because it looks okay actually. Got my little light there shining up underneath. You know, it looks okay, doesn't it? I'm pleased with that. Okay, and I put a bit of paint on there, and I put a bit of paint on there. Yeah, it's not too shabby. Here's my hole and rectangle there. They came out okay. I just drilled them. Then I went in with one of those tapered things which opened everything up a little bit, and then I just filed that and it looks okay. I'm glad I don't have hundreds of them to do, but you know, well, it took about 5 minutes, a bit more maybe, not long. But you know, I drilled 2 holes on that one and 1 hole on that one obviously. Yep, looks okay. As good as these ones. Yeah, this is, you know, really strong now, really strong. Okay, I'm calling it good at that for this little bit. Thank you very much for joining me in the garage. There will be many more videos to come featuring this repair of this car. I feel like I'm improving my own skills, which is always a good thing, isn't it? To feel like you've done better than you did before. And what made a difference was changing the wire and changing the tip. So I don't know if the wire was a little bit corroded or something, but things went better, things went smoother with a new tip and a new wire. It could have just been the tip. Okay. Thanks very much for joining me in the garage then. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers then. Bye.